So guys, I'm back again with another video regarding Crusty, the Toyota van. And I have to be honest, I'm starting to wonder if Crusty enjoys being on camera because as typical of these older vehicles, things go wrong. And I think he secretly wants to be on camera a lot, so. The latest little interesting situation is that my speedometer just went kaput. I did diagnose it. I'm breaking my own rule. I'm shooting vertically. I disconnected the speedometer cable from the connection going to the back of the transmission. What I'm going to do is hook up my DeWalt drill to this and then run it and see if my speedometer gauge works in the cluster. In order for the speedometer to work properly, you run it in reverse. So it's definitely running. With that being the case, the fact that the gauge is working and the cable is not broken, it's working as well. That means something's happening here. That's not spinning appropriately. I found out that if you attach your chuck on your drill to the speedo cable, put the drill in reverse and pull the trigger, the speedometer cable spins, of course. If it's not broken up at the gauge cluster, then you'll see your needle move. So I continued to look and I found out that there's an adapter. It's a little elbow that comes from the gearbox back there. Let me think, what's it called? Transaxle? Maybe it's a transaxle? If you look in your manual, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, there is a driven gear, drives a little connecting shaft inside here that's flexible, obviously, and that hits your speedometer cable and turns it up to the gauge. This was a nightmare. In fact, I never ever was able to break this loose. So I ordered a whole new piece. It was available at the Toyota dealership. The replacement piece, now I have attached the driven gear to it. Replacement piece, nice and shiny. And the driven gear is here. That'll go in and hit my drive gear. And then if you notice, if I turn the driven gear up top, it spins the piece down in the bottom that will turn the speedometer cable. I'm going to reassemble this, show you where it goes, put it all back together, and then drive down the road and we'll see if it all works. So basically this whole time that Krusty's been sitting up here, I've kept some plastic with a little wad of tissue inside it just to kind of fill in this hole here. One thing to keep in mind is that when I pulled this out, that it will leak out some of the transfer case oil. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart here. If you ever have to do this, you'll notice that there is a connection in there, and it has to seat just right in order to be able to make your connection and do your turn. If you'll notice, there's a little slot right here, and that slot is where this there's a plate that attaches right there where that bolt is going to go in. And the plate is what holds this thing into the chamber. It has to go in and line up because your O-ring has to go up there and seal. But that's the plate that locks this guy in place. So basically it goes in here like so, and then it'll, yeah. So that's got to go in quite a bit farther in order to do what it's supposed to do. I have a ground that has to go on it. So that goes on the bolt down here. This thing has got a seat in there even farther. I'm going to go ahead and try to put this in here. Maybe it'll give me a way of twisting this a little bit. Maybe pushing it a little bit more. I've got to line up the slot with the cable. Oh, there it is. Okay, good.
That got it? Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Yes, that worked. Beautiful. Got to pull it out enough to where you can see the slot, and then I can lock this thing in here. So there's that. And I got to make sure that I put my ground back on it as well. So I'm going to put the ground here underneath that, which it really should be scratched off. I'm going to grab a brass brush real quick and clean off this and the connection here before I bolt that stuff up. Hopefully you get to see that dust. Yeah, some dynamic cinematography here. So then that goes there, like so. The plate goes on and locks into the little opening. Right there's the plate. My wife and dad are discussing pecans and walnuts that are on sale right now at our local grocery store, and they could be going somewhere else to maybe discuss that, but instead they've decided they'll just discuss it in the background while I'm filming this, and they could just be famous on YouTube while I put Crusty's speedometer back together. Okay, so I did a little bit of thread lock on there. I'm going to get the plate in place. Go ahead and put it up in here. Dad, I'll see you later. You going back down? Alrighty. Oh, I will. Hopefully it doesn't fall off the jacks. Yeah, I'll let you know if it does. Okay. Alright. So that gets that started. Let's see if it'll lock like it's supposed to. Okay. That's about as tight as I'm going to get that. So the way this works is you've got your speedometer cable has these connections. I don't know if you can see it. So like right here is a connection. It needs to sit up inside that little gripper. I'm going to take a clamp and I'll clamp that back down. Had to stoke my little fire up. It was starting to die down a little bit. Oof, I don't want to melt my microphone. These are great for moving wood around. We'll see if I can get a little bit of a squeeze on that cable. Oh, maybe it worked. Yep. Okay, cool. It's not going to go anywhere. So your cable has to go into that slot. And I believe, if I remember correctly, yes, this is where that washer goes. And unfortunately, I don't have a replacement washer, so I'm going to do the bad thing and put the old washer back on it. Is what I'm going to do. So that's just going to have to do for now. And I can find one. If I end up having any leaks or problems, then I'll find one that fits later. Okay, and then that tightens on. And that should do it, I believe. That's the hard part, is holding this still while trying to tighten that, because the whole cable wants to turn. I think it's not going to let it spin any more than it needs to. Okay. And hopefully it's all sealed up. It's basically just hand tight. Everything's hand tight. So I'm not going to know until I drive the thing and I see how well it all does.
by now, you guys are probably used to this. So let's take it down to the end of the driveway and see if this speedometer works. It's been about 3 weeks since I've driven this thing, and it cranked right up. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, I've got some insulation going on in the top, and I've been doing in the rear as well, but it's not permanently installed yet. I've just kind of got it up there temporarily. I'll be, obviously I'll be posting some fresh stuff when it all comes together. Speedo's moving. I think what I might do is pull up Waze, and I'm going to check my speedometer once I get on the road down here and compare it to what Waze is telling me using the satellite tracking. See if I'm on the money with it. Right, the needle says 30 and Waze says 28, 35, Waze says 33. Okay, the needle says 40, Waze says 39, 50, Waze says 49, 60, and Waze says 58. I'd say that's acceptable. Sweet. There's that awesome 4x4. It's such a sweet dump truck. I love that thing. One of my neighbors here in the valley has imported that or purchased it and is using it for his, I think he's landscaping. Really awesome little vehicle. So if you need to change out your adapter and get your speedometer cable working, if that's what the problem is, obviously there's several pieces. You've got your gauge cluster, it could fail there. You've got your cable itself, it could fail there. Then you come on down, you've got that elbow, and then the connector and the driven gear inside it, and then of course the drive gear. So all those things are interconnected, and it can be any one of those. So thankfully, this was an easy fix. Not easy, but it wasn't a complex multi-piece fix. It was just that one elbow that had a broken connection in it. So if that's helpful, I hope it's helpful. And you know, there'll be more videos as time comes on. This guy over here, I'm gonna be doing a couple of videos on him. I figure there's some Volvo folks out there, and even I've noticed recently there's several Toyota folks. In fact, Jesse on one of the Facebook groups is one of the Volvo advocates that got me into these guys. So that's an 88 740 turbo station wagon. Matches Crusty's being an 88 Toyota. Same year. Pretty cool. Hope everybody has fun these fall and early winter travels. Take it easy. You ever watch Survivor, man? Can you imagine how difficult it was? Les Stroud, like doing all the camera work by himself. That meant when you watched him walking out into the distance, he had to leave a camera, walk into the distance, stop, come back, retrieve the camera, and then walk that again. He had to do that over and over and over again. I had to park Crusty at the bottom of the driveway, run up here, place this camera, run back down, drive it up, and then have a conversation. Pretty fun illusion that there's multiple people doing the shoot when there's only one of you.